Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dean, and on this channel I talk about biblical theology for normal people. So if you are a normal person, this channel is for you, and especially this video, because I want average Christians, normal people, to be able to understand church history and to learn more about church history, because church history is so important. The history of Christianity, super important, because as we look at things going on today, it can become very easy to get depressed about the state of Christianity when we don't understand Christianity in its context, in its 2,000 years of church history. That's so long. There's been so many things that have happened, so many issues that have risen up, hypocrisies within the church that the church has overcome. Jesus has built his church over 2,000 years. So let's figure out what happened back then, because maybe we can learn something from our spiritual ancestors rather than just look at things going on right now and think that we're alone. It's important to be connected to the entirety of church history. So that being said, I'm going to start with a foundation. This is I know it's a little bit big. I'm talking about normal people. I do think that this is pretty accessible, but this is something I had to read in Bible college and in seminary, and that is the two-part series, The Story of Christianity by Justo Gonzalez. And I love these books. It wasn't really much of an assignment having to read them a couple times because it's really a story. It's a unique way of looking at church history. Justo Gonzalez is a very talented, very gifted historian, but the way he also puts it together, he shows the fabric of history here, that things are connected. And I just really enjoy that. I don't think that this will be a slog, but it is something that will give you a little bit of the breadth of church history. Just basically scraping the very top of the iceberg of history. But I mean, in order to do that, it does have to be fairly big. And I would say that even if you're not going to get these or read these, something like Church History in Plain Language or Christianity Throughout the Centuries, those kinds of books, something big to be able to give you the full picture. Maybe it doesn't go super into detail, but the full picture of church history, I think, is really important to give you a foundation of understanding what exactly is going on over this 2,000-year period. So my number 5 would be The Story of Christianity. Number 4 would be a fun one. I really enjoy this book. A while back, I was teaching on the early church, and just basically giving the first couple centuries of church history, what happened to the apostles and their impact on the early church. And this book, I ran into this one and I just fell in love. This is The Early Church by Henry Chadwick. Henry Chadwick has become one of my favorites. This is through Penguin Publishing. They have a series of these, and I just really enjoy it. It is accurate, but also it's just really fun tidbits as well about what was going on. And I just really, really enjoy this book. So if there's one book that I would say for people to read about church history and an era of church history and be entertained, it would be this, because it's so interesting. Just what happened with the apostles? What impact did they have on the early church and their followers? How did Christianity spread over the Roman Empire? All of that in this book. I really enjoy it. And also his other ones are great as well. Number 3 would be a little bit more studious. But, some of these books that you get, you don't read all of it. You look at different segments, and they're reference books, really. But that would be Documents of the Christian Church by Henry Bettinson. So, if you're looking at these and you're saying, okay, that gives you the history of the church, the facts of what happened. How are you to understand how all of these facts line up together? I think that's where this book comes in, because this book really paints church history as, attacks and defenses of Christianity. So attacks from the outside, attacks from within of different heretics rising up and saying heretical teaching, and then the church defending orthodoxy and being able to say, no, this is what real Christianity is through different documents like creeds, confessions, catechisms, all of that. And so those are really important to be able to understand how they fit in their context. These, like, how do we have the Apostles' Creed? What does it mean in this book? Why was there the Council of Nicaea? What was going on at that time? Yes, you'll find it in books like these, but I think in a little bit more in detail about the theology of what's going on in books like this. So the Documents of the Christian Church would be my number 3. Number 4 would be a newer book that will help you be able to take like the documents and be able to apply it to today. And that is Theological Retrieval for Evangelicals by Gavin Ortlund. Now, I really enjoy Gavin Ortlund's stuff, and so I read this when it came out and was super happy with it. Basically, this is about how do you actually take things that happen in church history, events, documents that were written, theological works, the writings of different theologians like Augustine. How do you take that and apply it to today? It's about retrieving it. And I think that's so helpful. It's something that we all need to learn to be able to do because, again, we have all of these resources readily available. A lot of them are online even, just free. And we can go there and find tools to be able to defend the Christian faith about different things that are going on in our culture and even within the Christian church. So I would say Theological Retrieval for Evangelicals is amazing. Why we need our past to have a future. Super helpful. Number 5 is probably the one, if you're going to buy anything, please buy these books. They have been so helpful to me. And this is especially early on. Like, I got these before I finished seminary, and I didn't know everything. And maybe, you're looking at it and you're like, I'm not going to read those other books, Dean. They're too big, or, the words are not something that's really accessible to me, things like that. These books are, I guarantee you. And so it would be Know the Heretics and Know the Creeds and Councils, both by Justin Holcomb. These are little books, little reference books that are just amazing. It's part of like this Know series that I think has died out from Zondervan. But these 2 little books are so helpful in just having little reference points that are deeper than a Wikipedia page that just show you, all right, who was Arius? What was going on with Arianism? Why do we have the Nicene Creed? Go to these books. You'll find out very quickly. Sometimes you'll have questions, even as a pastor, from congregants about, I was listening to the sermon and this guy referenced this person. And you're like, I don't really know who that person is. Pastors aren't perfect. They don't have like knowledge over everything. So sometimes you got to be like, I'll answer that email in just a minute. Let me look up who that individual is. And books like this are very helpful for that. Just to find out, a little bit of information very quickly. That's what these books are for. And, they go into detail too. Like Justin Holcomb does a great job of being able to give you a lot of information very quickly and like the vital information. So if you don't have these books, I would say that everyone should have these books just to be able to reference them. I think it's super helpful. So, guys, those would be my top 5 books or resources, really, on church history. Let me know what your favorite book on church history is. Maybe your favorite biography. I'm probably going to do that in a different series, but I would love to know what your favorites are. If you've been helped by any of these, what did I miss? All of that kind of stuff. Let me know down in the comments, and I'll interact with you there. And I'll see you on Monday for Theo Live. See you then.